Alrighty, here we are on episode 4 of our Tropico 6 Communist Utopia. So let's get right into it. So we are like 200 tours away from making it to the modern times era. Our election is sometime within the next month, and so as soon as the election finishes, then I'm going to go ahead and build a number of cabins all around these smaller little islands out here. And once these smaller islands have all the cabins on them, then we should pretty quickly gain the necessary 200 tourists to make it to the next era. And once we're in the modern times era, we'll have access to all sorts of really cool buildings, like a wind turbine, maybe even a solar power plant. This building might be a bit too expensive for my island though, so it'll probably just be nothing but wind turbines. I don't think we'll need like a whole lot of electricity on this island. In terms of industry, we can get the juicery. Right now we can actually make a cannery. And there's one other thing. Juicery, cannery, and creamery. So I can make these two buildings right now. Cannery requires electricity. The creamery, I could get that started pretty soon. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. I'm going to start right away by making some additional plantations here. So let's see what we already have. Bananas, sugar, cocoa, rubber, pineapple. So there's enough room right here for one more plantation that'll affect our sugar plantation. So that's probably going to be the last plantation I build here. Cocoa, rubber, pineapple, bananas. We'll do a coffee plantation. How are we doing in terms of housing? There's plenty of vacant housing, and as long as someone has a job, then they will be able to afford the housing. I'm gonna go through and demolish these, see if we can kind of kick them into the tenements that we've already constructed. I mean, I want to move these over one space, and the longer I wait, the more detrimental the effects are going to be of moving this building over. So I'm going to go out of my way right now to get this done. It's going to suck because a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and then they'll have to wait a couple months before they can get rehired back, but it'll be okay.
The election is a landslide, Presidente. The metaphorical kind, not the kind that accidentally reduces the size of the workforce.
Cool. So we just won our election. Now we can let our support tank, and we got a decade to get it back up. So now is going to be the time to build up our touristy cabins. I think that's plenty for this little island here. And on to the last little island here. Oops. Alrighty, so those are all being constructed. And so specifically what I want to do is I want to go through, change all their priority to low. I'd rather, before all of these get finished, that the construction crews work on literally anything else. It's still good to get them built, but there's just so many of them that it'd be nice to have this as like the background noise. So real quickly, gonna go through and click as quick as I can to get these all to low priority. There's that island. Too bad there's not a key to like quickly change these all to low priority. I don't think that typically people build this many of the same building though.
The number one sign of being a spy is voting against El Presidente in an election. Do not make this fatal mistake, citizens.
That's a fatal mistake. Cool. Alrighty, so there's that. And the rest of the island is all looking pretty saucy. And what I want to do is set up just a couple more buildings for them to use the tourist, I mean. So I'm going to put some taverns out here to be constructed. So because of the way that all of this is set up, they'll go build the taverns first. And anything else that I set them to construct. So clinic, they'll build this clinic first. They'll come over here, build this plantation up first. So everything's looking pretty good. We have lots of buildings that produce us money in terms of making exports. And now we're starting to get the tourism hopefully really rolling soon. Make sure our sugar plantations are all in the right work modes with the correct amount of budgets. Finish some trade routes. Pretty much doesn't matter because hopefully real soon we'll be into the next era. We are going to need some additional jobs sometimes anyway, or sometime anyways, like sometime soon anyways. So what I'm going to do is build up another Teamster's office. I have a feeling that we're going to need one soon anyways, because we just have so many plantations. All of this stuff is going to be needing to be moved around. Cool. So a few roads, don't want too many roads. By contrast of like a capitalist island that you might see me set up. When I'm doing like communism, I like to keep everything super plaza-y. So there's like these huge plazas that people will be able to just go walking through. This is a pretty neat little area right here. Did I end up building another construction office? I did. Okay. This building, lowest budget, multicultural. Go through and make sure all of these are on the same work mode, same budget. Make sure all of the taverns are on the maximum budget with all you can drink work mode. 220% efficiency, pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and build up another snorkel bay. Yeah, so what I'm really hoping is in the near future, all of the tourists on the island are going to be these, backpacker tourists. That'll be pretty cool to see. Typically whenever I set up tourism, it's always like a bunch of rich people staying in hotels, going to like an amusement park. I could probably even set up some additional motels throughout like the main part of the city. So, I want to check out where I can build a radio station, because I don't want to affect my population. I'd rather just affect these buildings out here. And it looks like if I set it up like right here, cool, so in this location it'll affect all of the buildings out here that are for tourists, but it won't affect my populations. Reason I want to do that is to ensure that the buildings out here, like the taverns and all this stuff that's specifically made for the tourist, they have a higher service quality. And so I'm willing to kind of sacrifice my population's happiness to make the tourists more happy so that they stay out here and don't like overclutter my population stuff. Because we got a lot of really nice taverns here, but if it's nothing but tourists visiting them, then my population will have a tough time making it in here. Let's check our happiness scores. Food's doing pretty good. So we're gonna need canneries soon. I'll build only enough canneries to get 100% or a service quality of 100 for our groceries. The groceries should all be on the max budget, because even on the max budget, the wage given isn't gonna be so high that people are gonna move up a wealth class. So 83. Pretty decent. We need more food. Right now we're not producing milk, so I think I might do a couple of milk ranches. And so creating like an organic state, so a country where we produce like all of our own stuff, would be a pretty cool thing. I think that's pretty communistic, and I think it would fit well with this island. So all the consumer goods are stuff that I'm gonna want to make. Balloons is a DLC thing. I'll still probably end up doing it. Same thing with fireworks. I'll still probably end up doing those too, but I mean, I could get away with not doing them. And same thing with toys. So non-DLC stuff, the only things I have is like rum, furniture, and chocolate. But I'll go out of my way to do all the DLC stuff as well. So furniture and chocolate. Okay. So I'm gonna make just like one place where
first and now everyone is happy. Or they would be if they knew how important the planet was.
Yes, so I'll probably make maybe like this little location up here for harvesting trees. We'll only need like just a handful of places to chop down trees. We don't need like too much. Steadily producing like 30,000 every time that a new ship shows up. Pretty good. Let's make sure that none of our plantations are overfilled. They're starting to kind of get there. Lowest budget, loose load limit. We could maybe even get away with building another. Oh yeah, look at this place. 3,000 cotton just sitting here. I believe we moved up an era since last time I checked all of the upgrades. So we could go through fiber fertilization. So we'll do this here, and then this one here as well. So now these are getting a decent little bonus. Tobacco, extensive fertilization. Okay. Just go through and check all of the upgrades here. This is why I put this sugar plantation in the middle, so that it could give fiber fertilization, give this upgrade to as many of the plantations as possible. So that's pretty convenient. Veterinary vaccination, we'll go ahead and give that to all of our ranches. Bigger buckets, why not? It leaves a job there, but it's okay. Pollination, parcel, didn't need to do that. It's actually, like, this is ideal if you have like a whole bunch of pineapple plantations next to each other. Like if you were just to build like maybe 6 or 8 of them just in a big square, then getting this upgrade on all of those pineapple plantations would make them all really efficient. And so that's a pretty cool idea, but I'm not doing that here, so that's okay. People are dying, it looks like. So if we click here and we click on the decline, we can see what's killing people. Yeah, it's bad healthcare. So people are dying of bad healthcare. Definitely not ideal, and what I have a feeling it is the pollution. So the pollution is 50% as bad as it gets all around here. And really it's these bunkhouses that are doing it. So what I'm going to do real quick is demolish all of them. So now we won't have to deal with looking at those and dealing with the pollution of them. And what I'll do is I'll come back and build up just as many extra tenements as we need. So each tenement can house 16 households, and we need enough housing for at least 20. So I think I'm going to do green then blue. Green, and then blue. So now, put these on high priority. I'd rather get them done right now. And we're going to be losing a lot of support over the next couple months, because the communists, which most of the island is, are all getting upset because we're building up a bunch of tourist attractions, a bunch of these cabins out here, and they don't like that. But it's okay. Put all these on the max budget. It's going to cost money for a while, but once it's all done, we'll probably have like plenty of tourists on the island, and hopefully they'll start filling in all of these little buildings out here. Set these for tourist only. Cool. Snorkel Bay. One budget down. Allow wild catches. Tourist only. Cool. So now everything is looking pretty tip-top. I wonder. Yep, so this fish population still isn't going down, so definitely bugged, but that's okay. Supply local market. We could get one more rum distillery. set to the supply local market work mode, and that'll give us the max bonus. I might do it pretty soon, somewhere around down here. $40,000 worth of stuff being exported, pretty good. Make sure all of these are on this budget here with Armed Caretaker. Eventually I'm going to want to push it to the max budget and electrify all the buildings. In doing so, we'll be pretty close to 100, and then I can just go through and build a couple more little things here and there, like maybe the fire station on the cat and tree work mode, because we'll be like under 5 points away. So either things like this, or maybe potentially build up a bunch of metro stations. Metro stations also give a 5-point bonus to nearby housing. And so then we'll push it over 100, and that'll be one happiness completely taken care of. Our housing will be at 100. Food quality will be at 100 pretty soon. Healthcare is doomed to be at like 67, actually 70. They fixed a bug recently, because something I noticed was a really cool and very unique building is the, I believe it is here, Childhood Museum. So you can select this building to give like just a bunch of like random bonuses to like different things, and one of them would give bonuses to public service buildings, and the clinic is a public service building. And so on the lowest budget with the healthcare, paid healthcare, so clinics and hospitals, their efficiency is increased by 20%. And so in doing so, paid healthcare, even though these are all in the lowest budget, it would get up to 67 with all the upgrades, right? Oh, we can actually do this. So with all the upgrades and everything, we're up to 67. And now that the Childhood Museum works properly, it gets to the point where we get it up to 70. And so that'll be pretty convenient. We'll have a healthcare of 70, food at 100, fun, probably going to be around 70, maybe a little bit higher. Faith happiness, it's kind of doomed to be pretty low. Whatever this is right here, 45, that's like as high as we're going to be able to get it. So 45 for faith, housing 100, job is going to be pretty low. But once we modernize all of our production buildings with these ones here, just these two, then the population will gain at least some, like this will probably definitely be maybe around like 60, at least above 50 hopefully. Liberty, that'll be at 100 once we build up enough media buildings. Crime safety, that'll be at 100 once we build a number of police stations around the island. And so we'll have a pretty happy population, and that'll be nice to see. And then once I start really hammering down on all of the propaganda on the island, then we'll get everyone to support just what we want them to support. So communism, religion, the environment, and the intellectual faction. $50,000 being sold, pretty good. I'm not going to go out of my way to invite anyone. Don't really need to worry about that right now. Lots of people out here sailing around on their little boats. A fire is raging in Tropico. But luckily, we now have a fire station, so. High pressure water jet. This is pretty cheap, and it just makes your firefighters put waters out quicker, so pretty good pickup. I don't like putting like two buildings that are like the same right next to each other, but what can you do? So now the entire population, as you can see, everyone is only living in these tenements, and both of the newspapers are affecting these tenements. And so this means that everyone is being pushed towards the communist faction. And so the only people that won't are the diehard capitalists. They'll never change this political ideology no matter what. And so what I'm going to do eventually is build an asylum somewhere. I don't know what the minimum wage is for the asylum, but hopefully we can get that under 10. And I'm going to build it anyways. It'll be one of the few buildings that are potentially giving a wage over $10. Let's see what else we can do here. The Funfair Pier. I don't think this building gives a wage over 10, even on the max budget. So this could be a good pickup. Because they'll probably give a pretty good service quality. Could also build a movie theater. But these buildings are going to require electricity, so we just need another 80 tourists, so we're pretty close to being into the next era here. We need the happiness to stay pretty high for our population to, or for more people to immigrate to the island. What I'm going to do real quick is, well, how many jobs? So we need, like, having a couple jobs is pretty good here. So what I'll go out of my way to do is kind of construct a location kind of far from everyone, and we'll build up some goat milk farms, or ranches. Goat milk. I'm gonna go ahead and just quick build these. Should be okay. Minimum budget for all of them. Disallow local consumption. Change them to pasture prohibition. Mechanical milker on both of them. Veterinary vaccination. So now these have a efficiency over 100, even though they're on the lowest budget. Pretty good. And so now we're producing milk. And milk is nice because it's the last food variety that I can get without building industrial buildings. And so the milk, we can turn it into cheese with a creamery somewhere around here. The cannery can take in a number of different products, pineapples or fish. And so we're producing fish and we're also producing pineapples. Oh, we made it to the modern times. Wow, that's pretty cool.
We have run out of itchy beach towels and half-chewed tiny cocktail umbrellas. Success!
Nice, so now we are in the modern times.
War is over. The future is now present, and the present will presently pass into the past.
Nice.
Palace declared.
Privacy rights probably.
Tropico is awarded the win on points.
Yeah, so I'm not really worried about the population, like we'll be okay regardless of anything. So privacy rights and then paid healthcare. Super convenient. We don't need either of these. I don't really care about those. Marriage rights. Probably just leave it on traditional marriage. Because open marriage would decrease the religious faction standing, which we don't want to do. And I could research global market economy, but maybe doing protectionism is probably the way to go here. And then just not really worry about trade routes. It means I wouldn't be able to import anything, but I don't think that I would really need to. Okay, so we made it to the modern times era by 1931, which is pretty cool. And this means that I can now start building up some electricity. So let's find a high hill, maybe here. This is going to be our high hill that we're going to build up. We also have access to the final two political factions. And we're going to push everyone towards the intellectual faction here. The intellectuals don't like us building up tenements, which is kind of a shame because that's all we're going to be building. The environmentalists don't like the tenements either, or ranches. Okay. The religious doesn't look like they're affected by anything right now, at least. Okay. So up here, this is going to be our wind farm. At least the first one will probably have multiple wind farms. And then we can also fill in any extra areas with what do they call it? The ocean ones, offshore wind turbines. But that's like a way later thing once we have the money for it. Right now we're going to go ahead and buy our first wind turbine. We'll just construct one for now, and we'll quick build it, just so I can see how things are going to be. Lowest budget, increases upkeep by 100, electricity output. So we could research this building, increases upkeep by 100. Power output is increased by 30, so this would work best if we have them all set to the lowest budget. Which we might end up doing, like leave them all on the lowest budget, and I'll have them on 64 RPM. That might be the move. Just so that they're as cheap as possible and we're getting the most out of them. But now we have a bit of electricity, so let's see. As you can see, the electricity isn't spread very far. So we're going to need to build somewhere a electric substation.
Nuclear weapons. Do they still have a place in our lives? Or are they simply objects of Cold War nostalgia?
Can I fit it right here? I can. Okay. So this is going to be the spot for it. We'll quick build it too. And now our island is electrified. Pretty cool. So first things first, I want to start influencing the population a bit more. So what I'm going to do is try and get a radio station down. It only requires 10 electricity, so that is pretty convenient for us. Maybe here would be a good spot. And then what I'll do is I will construct another wind turbine up here. Oh no. That's okay, we'll just put that one there. I like kind of keeping them in a pretty neat like grid pattern. Just so we're getting like the most out of the space we have. The higher these wind turbines are, in terms of the elevation, the more electricity they generate. And so getting this one down, make sure that they'll both be on the lowest budget. Getting this one down will mean that I'll be able to electrify out here. That means that we can electrify the cabaret with the upgrade playback equipment. It also means that I can build, well, we'll need like 2 more wind turbines, but we can build a radio station here, and this will be the only one with the upgrade that increases the service quality of entertainment buildings. I mean, I kind of want to get things rolling as quick as possible, so we'll just quick build this one. We're going to need an electric substation out here. Maybe right here, quick build it. And we will build our radio station here. Maybe I'll quick build this one too. So we'll put this on the lowest budget, both of them on the lowest budget, and this will be the only one with music all day. Ooh, and I can do public service advertisements out here. So all of the taverns are being affected, pretty convenient, and all of these buildings are being affected. So that is nice, up to 64 here. Well, you can drink, so these have a service quality of 75. That might be the highest service quality out of any buildings that I have so far. This is up to 86. Snorkel bays are up to 90. Wow. It's not quite reaching the snorkel bay over here, but yeah, it's okay. And if I get playback equipment, this cabaret will probably be at a pretty high efficiency. Our current network balance is 37. So I'm going to go ahead and buy the upgrade for the cabaret. So 70. Okay, so now all these little buildings out here are getting some pretty decent service qualities, which is really nice. We don't have a whole lot of electricity left over. We only have 2 extra megawatts. But what is nice about these is that I don't really need to like worry about them. I don't need to supply them with anything. They'll just be built up slowly over time. So now we have our first radio station down. So I'm gonna go ahead and research the radio station right here. And now I can influence my population. Not all of them, but most of them at least. And we're gonna push them towards... Okay, so now I'm gonna even out, do a bit of evening out here.
Bank on saving the planet if people don't have any interest in being green.
Produce juice. We'll hit accept, but we won't end up doing it. I mean, eventually we will, because I do plan on building a juicery, but we can change this to the word. And so now the population's being pushed towards... So we already have like nearly everyone in the communist faction, but now we're pushing people towards the religious faction. And then I want to use the radio station here to push them towards the environmentalist faction. Radio now? Yeah, radio now. Cool. So now we have everyone being pushed towards communism, religion, and environmentalist. So real soon I want to start pushing everyone towards the intellectual faction. The improv theater is increasing the intellectual faction's standing, so that's pretty convenient. And we're going to need a TV station. But before we build a TV station, we're going to need to electrify all of these tenements. Each tenement requires 32 megawatts, which is a whole wind turbine to themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and research the wind turbine. So let's just check out the difference between these two. So 43 for $32, pretty convenient. 33 for $16. So what's more cost efficient here? I think leaving them not on 64 RPM. Let's check how they would work on the max budget though.
By threatening to withhold our produce. Shellfish? Yes, including those.
So in terms of just being as cost efficient as possible, I think leaving everything on just the normal work mode, lowest budget, is getting us the most bang for our buck. Did I change these to public service announcements? $8 for each citizen employed in the vicinity of these radio stations every time they work. No, I'll just go ahead and do this one to radio now as well. Okay. Population is under the firm grip of our propaganda. Pretty nice to see. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and get the final rum distillery down. I do wish I built... No, never mind. Okay, we'll build this right here. Final rum distillery. And now we have milk being brought to our groceries. So we're up to 8 out of 11 food variety. So now the service quality is up to 87. And so there's just a couple more things that we need to do. A landing was destroyed. Shame. There's just a couple more things that we need to do. So first off, I'll get all of the food variety. And then after that, I'll start building up canneries with the supply local market work mode. And I'll only build enough canneries to get the service quality to 100. So food variety, we need 3 more. And then I'll stack on supply local market.
Hey there, Presidente. I've got a proposition. Do me a favor and I'll lend you some real American power.
Okay. I mean, I could invite them now. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and invite them.
Thanks for doing that thing, Presidente. Plus, nobody got fired and the sponsors are happy.
Okay. We'll praise them and request an alliance.
America is bored with being a superpower, so we're gonna be a mega power. Okay?
Sure thing. We still have this, so that means we can do the 4 guerrilla patrols that they want us to do. And then we'll have an ally. And that's significant because we can never be invaded. And I'm going to go ahead and see about researching global market economy. It's going to take all of our research points. But I'm going to go ahead and do it. And because we did that, we can go to the Constitution and change this to protectionism. So now all of our trade routes are completely turned off. Did I do this right? Protection disables all trade route offers. Okay. So this screen should turn off. No, okay. So we just can't activate it. So that's all turned off. And now we have a plus 5% bonus to everything we export. On top of that, we could also go out of our way to research and enact Made in Tropico. So we'll do that, and we'll just wait a bit for that to turn on. And then we'll get like a pretty decent bonus to all of the produce and stuff that we're selling. Let's see. Cannery, creamery. I could get the creamery now, which I think I'm going to. It is going to produce some pollution. So we don't have like a whole lot of pollution out here. You don't want pollution to be affecting your plantations. As we can see, the pollution's building up around these shacks. And so that's why you don't want shacks around your plantations and these buildings out here. So we're going to want to get rid of all of that soon. On top of that, we also have access to the where is it at? Waste treatment facility. This gives a minimum wage, I believe, of 10, which kind of sucks, but it would be nice to have these down just because we're not going to have like the greatest
An official statement from the palace declares cryptocurrency to be unpatriotic. If it doesn't have a picture of El Presidente on it, it's not currency.
we're not going to have the highest healthcare happiness. It'll be at like 70, but that's going to kind of be it. And so instead of having the service quality, or instead of needing like a whole lot of, what's it called, healthcare on the island, we could just make it to where, like, I read somewhere that the environmentalists,
War is good for business, but what's really good for business?
so the environmentalists don't want like high healthcare. The reason that they don't want like the high healthcare on like hospitals and clinics is because they believe that it'd be better to just live a healthy life. I read that somewhere online when I was like Googling this game up and checking out the factions. And so that makes sense. So if the pollution of the entire island is really low, then the healthcare shouldn't be too much of a problem. Having pollution around like your housing is what's gonna kill people. Because if we come here and check out happiness, we read, oh no, we check out the overlays. Check out pollution. Pollution builds up over time, mainly caused by industrial, followed by residential. It decreases beauty, fertility in the area, makes people lose healthcare happiness when resting at home. And so because their homes are creating pollution, then, you know, they're gonna start dying off from this pollution. And so that's probably where most of our decline is coming from, the bad healthcare here. It looks like the past year, we haven't really had people dying as much, but it's probably because we got rid of most of those bunkhouses. But to decrease it even further, we could build up some waste treatment facilities here. And what sucks is like this would be a good spot but it's missing these two tenements over here. So I kind of want to put it somewhere like right in the middle. Maybe I could do like a whole bunch of moving around. Like right here would be the most ideal location. And the only things, well, yes, definitely would be the most ideal location. But there's just like too many buildings in the way here. Not very ideal. Maybe what would be better than these little 3 tile plazas here would be a 4 tile plaza. So you could fit in buildings that are just a little bit bigger because there's something like the church. So yeah, maybe it would be more ideal to have like a 4 space plaza along the main road. But I mean, I'm gonna try and figure out exactly the best way to do this. So I would need to destroy these 2 tenements and replace them with something else. And I'm also going to need to move this grocery and this tavern here. This tavern's not doing particularly well anyways, so not the worst. I mean, I'm going to do this anyways. Maybe what I could do is move this tenement. Move this tenement. Move this grocery. Here would be a good spot, but it looks kind of goofy right in front of the radio stations, so we'll find a better spot for it. Don't want it right next to the other one. We'll start building up like a location way down here. And then I'm probably going to move the palace back as far as it can go real soon. So we're moving a bunch of stuff out of the way. Can relocate. I'm just going to destroy this one actually. So now we should have the space for this. So we're also going to need to destroy the parks, of course. Now we have the space for it. Okay. I'd rather get rid of all of this pollution before like I kind of forget about it and it becomes like a real problem. I do not like the way that this looks here. So what I'm gonna do is build up something like this. Cool. So this plaza just looks more pleasing here. Alrighty. We also have a bunch of space here, so I could figure a way to fit things to look just a little better here. I mean, it does look pretty nice, but I just want to fit some stuff in to make it look a little better. So we're researching this. We can also try and research the where is it? Waste treatment facility, we'll do that next. Reason being is that the more buildings that this building affects on refuse incineration, it'll actually give us some electricity, which will be really nice because we won't have to rely solely on solar power. Scrap head scrounging, we don't need aluminum, don't need rubber really, uranium, nickel, we don't need any of that, so we're not going to buy that upgrade. Okay, I think I've decided. I'm gonna do this. We are going to put a park here. And then we're gonna put some parks along this area here. And then right here we can build up another Teamster's office. So I know we're gonna need another one. We always need more of these. Alrighty. And as a matter of fact, I think we're getting near like as many Teamster's offices as we'll need. At least until we start building more production buildings and things of that nature. 1,000 manure, that's good because now our manure spreader won't be running into problems. Minimum budget, supply local market, understill. Okay, so let's check the service quality of our taverns out here. Wait, did I ever? Yeah, we do have National Day, okay. So this might be as high as I can get the service quality of our taverns. And let's check the taverns out here that are for tourists. Service quality of 77 on a tavern, that's pretty good. I wonder if all of these are being stayed at. Backpacker, backpacker. Backpacker. Pretty cool. I wonder if we can check out. No. So it's not like an overlay, which kind of sucks. That would be nice to just easily see. But it looks like all of these are full. Pretty cool. Alrighty. Yep, I'm really starting to like the way this is looking. And, I mean, I don't think that I'm particularly gonna fill in these locations with any buildings, so what I'm gonna do is just go through and build up some parks. And this whole area, this might be like the final way that it's gonna look. It'll probably stay like this forever.
Intimidated by the immense power of my country, you are still absolutely free to make the wrong choice and not help us.
Alrighty, Ambassador Zhang. Cool. Global market economy. I'm definitely not doing that. So, hopefully real soon the pollution starts just completely going away and we'll have a very healthy island. People are still living in these shacks over here. I wouldn't mind it because like eventually they're gonna move, but we don't want them there now because they're increasing pollution. As a matter of fact, let's check the housing. Unemployment, we need just a couple more. Actually, we're kind of fine on the housing, but getting a couple more down wouldn't be too bad right now. We could probably start building in like this area here now. Gonna go ahead and buy the childhood museum finally. What I could do is there's a pretty cool park that you can get. I believe it's this park here. This might look pretty neat. Leave a one gap space on each side. And then what I can do is put the childhood museum on the other side. And then just cover these areas with a couple of smaller parks. Cool. Alrighty. We do have the money to probably start building up some canneries and creameries and a juicery. We're going to need the electricity for this though. So each cannery requires 80 megawatts and a juicer requires 30. So that's 110 already. And currently we have 2 extra megawatts. So let's go through and start building up some wind turbines. Very expensive little buildings, but that'll be fine. We'll just construct like 6 of them here. Building up wind turbines really makes the conservative faction pretty upset, but it should be okay. And then, so I'm going to get these industrial buildings down, and as soon as they're down, then I'll start focusing on building up electricity to electrify our tenements. Once all of the tenements are electrified, then we can finally build up a TV station, which would be pretty nice. Cool. I'm just going to build some extra tenement housing because Special Citizens Crime Lord. Whoa, bro. Time to build, I think, a dungeon. I mean, it could also just build a prison, but that's just like we're not going to have so many criminals that we need a prison. We can just build a dungeon. Maybe out here on this little island. Quick build that up. We'll let them construct the dungeon. And so that'll start allowing us to arrest our criminals and crime lords and whatnot. And hopefully they'll get rid of that eventually. So we can buy made in Tropico $3,000, but this is going to increase the price of all of our exported goods, and it increases the cost of all of our industrial buildings. But because they're all on the lowest budget, and it's a percentage increase, not too bad.
Guess what happened, Presidente? A breakthrough. I know. I think we might just change the world.
Nice, okay. I mean, the island is looking pretty good right now. What is this? Childhood Museum? Childhood Museum. I think this is going to be the last thing I do before cutting this episode here. It's getting pretty close to an hour long. And I'll quickly show you some of the cool things you can do with a childhood museum. Sadly, I didn't cover this in my beginner's guide. I probably should have, but this is a really unique building. You can only build one, and it gives a bunch of bonuses to various things. And so it's all about we need to research it. But I'll quickly talk about what we can do with it after we research it. Oh wow, nothing but the truth. So this increases conservative standing. So if we check out the conservatives here. Building efficiency, childhood museum. Building efficiency. So that's why it's up to 69 right now, is because of the childhood museum. And so if we go through and start changing it, there's all sorts of things that you can get, which are pretty cool. And on top of that, it also gives a bonus to the relation of various superpowers. So Golden Spoon here, as we can read, will give a 15-point bonus to the Middle East, Russia, and USA. And so there's just all sorts of little things like this. And I believe it is right here, religious fostering. Increases the approval of visiting citizens, increases efficiency of all public service buildings by 5%. And so, as a matter of fact, that'll also work on our groceries. So that means that we'll have to build even less canneries, maybe just 1 or 2, and we'll get a service quality of 100 on them. On top of that, let's check out all of the public service buildings. So our churches, that'll be nice too. giving us just a little bit more faith happiness, which is nice. Fire station's not too worried about that. Our asylum, it'll make our asylum work a little bit better. And the waste treatment facility will have a small boost to its efficiency. That's really convenient. And so religious fostering with a little communist utopia like this is definitely the best. But there is some other really nice ones like ex-KGB colonel, like Vladimir Putin. Increases efficiency of all barracks, army bases, commando garrisons. So if you had a very militaristic island, then this would be what you'd want to do here. And the militarists have a constant standing bonus of plus 15, so that's nice. And this also, religious fostering, gives a plus 15 bonus to the standing of the religious faction, so that's nice. Capitalists have a standing from this one. Golden Spoon, Pinnacle, the working class, the communists have a plus 15 standing. The environmentalists have a plus 15 standing from Raised by Llamas, that's pretty convenient. Self-made entrepreneur, the industrialist, Oxford graduate, the intellectuals. So this is a really cool building with all sorts of really interesting work modes and stuff. And so as soon as I research it, we'll do religious fostering. So as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is get rid of that and we'll focus on researching the childhood museum first. We don't have any way to start generating research points, which kind of sucks. The only way we're making it, I seen someone ask about how I was getting research points, and how I'm doing it without like a library or anything is if you customize, click on El Presidente and then come to his traits. Well, actually just traits right there. We have the Savant perk, and so if we read over here on the left, El Presidente generates 1 knowledge and 1 raid point per day. He does not greet people on the streets and visits entertainment buildings less often. Okay. And so there's all sorts of things. And right whenever I first started playing this game, I went through and I was like looking for, oh wow, spending Swiss bank money has no impact on corruption. But I was just going through and I was like reading all these and like nothing was really catching my eye. But it's been a long time since I've really like looked at all of these. You cannot acknowledge issues in election speeches, decreases the construction costs, inspiring statues. Not really great. No undecided voters anymore. Pyromaniac, this is kind of a bit funky. Just sometimes buildings catch on fire. Okay. Cult leaders standing with the conservative factions increased by 10. Nice. Standing with the intellectual faction decreased by 15. Efficiency of media buildings on conservative work modes increased by 5%. With Cult Anonymous, if you had this and you put maybe like all of your media buildings on the conservative faction work modes, then you could probably like make the entire island conservative within 10 years, which would be pretty gnarly. Seductive increases approval of citizens that are sexually attracted to El Presidente. Don't know how I feel about that. I mean, maybe if you like try to kill off all the men on the island or something kind of crazy. Soft-hearted, deadly citizen actions, cannot. Rebels have a 25% chance to give up being a rebel completely. I mean, like you could just get around this by not letting your island become rebels. Just by, you know, having a lot of liberty on the island. Increases stockpile, blah blah blah. Don't really, like, this isn't really, like, just build more Teamsters offices, you know. Workaholic. +1 efficiency, but -2 job happiness to the entire island. Not really good. Compulsive hoarder. Decoration cost. Demolition, oh. I don't know about that either. Charismatic, this might be like a nice little perk. +2 standing with everyone, and with all superpowers, could be pretty decent. But anyways, the Savant perk, probably the best one out of all of them because it's just giving you raid points and knowledge points. So I mean, I never even change it from this really. So anyways, so there's that. Yeah, I mean the island's looking really good. Hopefully within like another episode or 2 or maybe even 3 or 4, we'll have the entire island built up. So what I'm gonna do, I'll quickly talk about like the overall plans of everything. As you can see, this is like the downtownish area with all the concrete. We'll move the palace all the way back as far as it can go along this main road. We'll build up the rest of the downtown area all throughout here, and then maybe spread it out like kind of in a T shape here. And then everything else we'll start building up just more ranches and farms all throughout here. Then we'll start replacing these with the hydroponic ranches and farms. And so we'll just get like a whole lot of stuff going on. Maybe even build some more ranches and farms like out here. Start building up some wind farms up on these hills. And then this entire area is like just about done. I might build like a couple more taverns out here, but realistically, like that's kind of it. It's doing pretty good. Let's quickly check how much money we're making from tourism. Wow, tourism has netted us, or not netted, but a gross income of 28,000, which is pretty good. Check the upkeep. The cabins, we're almost spending as much money on the cabins as we're making from it though. But I mean, we're netting probably around $10,000 from tourism, so not bad. Tourist rating is not super great. Good old days, theocracy. Okay. Yeah, so that is the end of episode, I believe this is episode 4. I really hope you guys enjoyed sticking around. As soon as I'm done with this, then I'm gonna do like an overall breakdown of just like everything that's going on, like why I did what, why like this road here is for our industry buildings, and just really break down everything. But if you enjoyed the video, enjoyed sticking around watching the island get built up, consider leaving a like. And if you want to follow along with this series or any of the other series that I'm going to be posting in the very near future, then subscribe. Peace.